So we've got to talk about Bernstein and this cover-up, because there's a lot coming out about what's going on in the White House, and lots of different stories and lots of phrases that are meaning some things that I don't think they're meaning to actually put out, but we're going to go over it. First of all, MAGA is pissed. I love this for them, by the way. Love this for them. They were so sure that Bone Spurs, of all people, was going to blow this thing up and expose all the Democrats and this and that and the other thing, and they didn't realize that he was like the head guy. And he said, bury it. And all of his cronies were like, bet. Even the cronies like Kash Patel and Don Bongino were like, yeah, sounds about right. Let's just go ahead and bury it. So Dan Bongino is mad. Reports from the White House speculate that he is thinking about resigning over this whole thing. Reports had also said that Kash Patel was thinking of resigning, but he has since come out saying, no, I'm not resigning. That's a lie. You shouldn't believe anything and all this other stuff. Okay, now Dan Bongino, he got into it with Pam Bondi on last Wednesday when they were having a meeting and someone confronted him and Kash Patel about leaked reports that had come out about them being dissatisfied with the decision to not release the files. Now that wording from that Axios report is pretty damning. Because Pam Bondi, backed by the FBI, said there were no files at all. They denied the existence of files. But now the report is saying it was the decision not to release more files. So were there files and you just decided not to release them? Now, people close to the situation reported that Bongino was out of control furious and threatening to quit if Pam Bondi wasn't fired for how she handled the Bernstein case. He even didn't go to work on Friday. Now, it was reported that Bondi, Deputy AG Todd Blanche, Kash Patel, and Bongino were reportedly all on the same page about telling everybody that there was no list. The only thing is, Kash Patel and Bongino, their whole base was based off of the Bernstein files and finding out who was on it. When they got those positions, they had made promises to their base that they were going to get to the bottom of it and expose everything. But they get in there, and suddenly there are no files. But then reports come out that they made the decision not to release any more files. Those are two completely different things. Either there were no files to release, or they decided not to release any more files. Completely two separate things. And I'm leaning toward the latter. Now, Bongino can't take the heat because his people are calling him a fake. They're calling him a part of the deep state. They're calling him an apologist for child essayers and all of this other stuff. They're saying that he too is covering things up, and they're not really helping themselves because of the blatant and verifiable untruths they have been spouting. Like the raw FBI footage of that prison cell of Bernstein's. Not only was a full minute missing from those tapes, in which Pam Bondi tried to explain it away, saying that there was some type of cleaning cycle and every tape was missing 1 minute, even though she never actually provided any other tape that was missing 1 minute. The Wire actually did some digging into that raw footage and found some particular things. One, the raw footage was full of metadata. And if you know anything about metadata, all of that stuff is traceable. According to the Wire article, that raw footage was edited in Adobe Premiere Pro. And it was taken from 2 different source clips and spliced together. The metadata showed that it was saved multiple times before being exported and uploaded into the DOJ's website, where they packaged it as raw footage. Now, there is nothing raw about being edited in Adobe Premiere Pro from 2 separate source clips. It is amazing how Bone Spurs cabinet is so stupid that they project their stupidity onto other people. Just because they didn't think of metadata and the fact that that video could be easily traced back to its sources doesn't mean that everybody else did. I just find it interesting that the party that perpetuated this conspiracy theory about Democrats covering up SA of children to the point where people were pew-pewing pizzerias is the same party that has gotten caught multiple times lying to the public about that same case. But that's what happens when you put the chief SAer liable for SA, a 34-count convicted felon who was best friends with Bernstein at the time of Bernstein's crimes, in the White House. What did you think you were going to get? It's not like you weren't warned. So I'm not sure why you're surprised.